Hello and welcome to the What's On podcast, where we talk about films and we discuss films and we review films. I'm Billy Ray.
I'm Ellie.
And I'm Tom.
And today is our first themed episode, and we're doing it on video game movies.
Yeah.
So this one's probably not going to be quite as structured. We're just we've got our own lists of our top 5, and we're just going to kind of wing it a little bit. I'm quite interested to see what we've all got, because it sounds like, from briefly discussing this before recording, that everyone's got something a little bit different.
I'm just throwing curveballs out there, personally.
So should we start from our number 5s and then work our way up to our personal number 1s, like our best ones sort of thing?
Okay, I only
Should we do
have 4, so I'm just gonna not join in for number 5 because I haven't played that many video games versus the ones who've actually then come out on film and then thus seen those films as well. So I'm kind of not the expert at this particular topic, but I'll give it a crack.
That's fair enough. Okay, do you want to go first, Lily? I'm actually really interested to see what
I can't. I just said I can't.
I thought we were going to do number 5
No,
first.
I mean
Are we going to go through Ellie's list first?
Yeah, do you want to go through your whole list first?
Go through your whole list, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I'll just be completely quiet, just let you go and not say anything.
Okay. Number 4, Angry Birds.
What?
Because I just don't even know. I know just so much, but I'm going to keep it silent.
I'm going to keep quiet. Number 4, Angry Birds. What?
I'm sorry.
Not even half a second.
And the reason I say Angry Birds isn't because it's of any particular good quality or because a funny film or a good film in any way, shape or form. I'm just absolutely mystified that they somehow managed to turn a mobile game into a legitimate film. It blows my mind, so I have to credit them in some way because that is very impressive to be that level of shit.
You say shit, to give some perspective, it's the highest grossing video game film of all time.
Well, there you go.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's Angry Birds the movie. Let me double check.
I am shocked. I am so disappointed.
Let me double check my
Are you wrecked?
facts.
I'm shooketh.
I'm shooketh. But yeah, I'm just impressed to begin with that they managed to take a mobile phone app game, because it's not even like a PS game or an Xbox or a PC game. It was a fucking mobile app.
Yeah, it's a casual game, isn't it?
A casual game that they have turned into a film. I found that you've got to credit it in some way, shape or form, and that's how I'm going to do it.
Tell her it's the second.
But still, that's pretty high.
My God.
It's above Resident Evil: The Final Chapter.
Well, that's just a terrible film.
You say that, but Resident Evil: The Final Chapter is third in gross.
Those films did so well.
They did. Right.
What's your number 3, Ellie?
My number 3 is the Super Mario Brothers, because it was a really, really, really funny film when I was a kid.
God, I can see what kind of list this is gonna be.
So funny. Again, really shitty film. I really enjoyed it. Sue me. My number 2. Now, this is where I start to just kind of bend rules and be like, sod it, you gave me a structured rule on how to make this list of 5. I'm going to throw all those rules out the window.
You didn't even make 5.
I didn't even make 5. Lego films. All of... Because, like...
All of them?
No, hold on.
Come
They're
on.
not video game films.
Here's my argument. Okay, so... I hope this goes through because it's going to help me with my next one. Yes, they were Lego first, as in the physical structural thing, but then they had video games before they had the films.
They
so
did.
Then,
But which films are you talking about
like
specifically?
the Batman one and...
Which is based on comics.
No, the Lego Batman character is based on the character from the Lego movie.
Woo!
Oh, okay.
But the Lego movie is not a video game.
Well, I don't care. I'm saying the Lego films.
Okay.
And Pokemon movies, all of them. And you're going to fight me.
I will accept that.
Thank
because the
Otherwise I'll have nothing to
Pokemon...
talk about.
Come on, there must be one Pokemon film.
it's
one.
no,
Come on.
there is one. It's the first one, right?
The Pokemon film.
Yeah, Pokemon the movie.
I
Yeah.
actually haven't seen Pokemon the movie.
It's the one where Ash dies.
Oh, that one. Is that
Yeah.
where Pikachu talks?
No! And we are not going to watch that because Pikachu can't talk. Meowth can. I accept that Meowth can, but if Pikachu can, no.
It ruins the magic.
It really does
and they
ruin the
also
magic.
give Pikachu a male voice.
Pikachu's not a male. Pikachu's a girl. And it does really ruin the magic because it's like this whole time you've been able to speak and you've just been sitting around going, Pika, Pika.
Yeah, fuck you,
Fuck
you little
you.
orange shit.
There were so many times that you could have gotten us out of trouble and you just chose to not.
I don't watch Pokemon. I've just opened up a whole can of worms
You
that
really
I am
have.
unfamiliar
A
with.
whole can of wormpools.
I opened up a can of worms without reading the label. With a rusty
Golf
tin
clap.
opener.
Golf clap. Golf clap. I don't want to pop the microphone too loud, so golf clap.
You got through those a lot quicker than I was expecting.
Well, you guys shit on all of them, so.
Well, I mean,
Oh, come on.
first of
That's
all,
not
she
fair.
only had 4, and the second one, her number 2 wasn't even based on video games
Although-
anyway.
I just like Legos.
Technically, she had about 50.
Technically.
Considering that the first 2 choices were multiple films.
I
but-
overachieved. What can I say?
But
Ju-
Ellie's indecisive. It's cool. We knew something like this would happen anyway. Right?
Eventually.
I'm indecisive and greedy.
I've got my list here. What I've only got one per franchise in the list. Just
One
just
per
'cause I
franchise
thought
in
that'd
the
be
list.
fair.
Okay, I
Um,
might have to reconsider.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, okay.
I've also got a list of ones that I think are good that aren't in the list. Which, well, actually, it's not a list. It's one film.
Do you have a list
And
for your
then
list?
I have
So
a
you-
list of bad ones that aren't in the list, and a list of ones I haven't seen.
Okay, well, let's go through your top 5 and
Okay,
then
yeah.
your honourable mention.
Yeah, and we can do that afterwards, or the other ones as well.
Yeah.
At number 5, I got Prince of Persia. Have you seen Prince of Persia?
I have
I
seen
forgot
Prince
about
of
Prince of
Persia.
Persia. Can that be my number 5 as well?
Hell yeah. I thought it was quite decent, like not 100% faithful to the games, but it didn't really bother me too much. Like it's not a great film, to be honest.
I love a bit of whitewashing too.
Yeah.
I love a bit of that.
But like the action scenes were great and special effects were right. It's not a great film though. I feel like video game films are a bit of a mess, to be honest, aren't they? There's not a lot where you can be like, that was great.
I mean, I think the problem with that you're talking about Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
The big problem with it is Jake Gyllenhaal is the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, white guy.
Yeah,
And
and
it's Jake
B,
Gyllenhaal.
and B, it's a Disney film.
Is it a Disney
It's
film?
a Disney
I
film.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I just remember the first time I watched it, I was like, that wasn't bad. I'm not impressed, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I guess I was impressed by the fact that it wasn't terrible.
it is a rarity.
At number 4, this is one of those films where it's just a lot of fun to watch, even though it's not amazing. But at number 4, I've got Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is which one?
The
Mortal
first
Kombat
one.
or the first one, not
Oh,
Annihilation.
Annihilation can fuck right off. No, yeah, Mortal Kombat is decent. Like when it gets to the middle of the film, the story just completely halts and it's just fight scenes. But that is Mortal Kombat,
Yeah,
right?
I mean-
so that's decent. They also formed the story of the first game, which barely has much story at all, to be honest. It's done through like screens of writing, and
yeah.
they did it justice.
Is that the one where Liu Kang transforms into something in the film?
No, that's Annihilation.
That's Annihilation,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
Animalities. With like, not everything in a video game needs to be adapted into the films. To be
No.
honest, it's not. No. At number 3, I've got the very first Resident Evil film, which
Yeah.
I think is arguably the best one in terms of film theory.
In terms of film, I agree with you.
Like, from 2 onwards, they get really wacky, but the first one I think is a pretty solid horror film, and it also could work within the Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
Because none of the video game characters are in it. It's just set in its own location. So that could easily be something that's happening off screen in the games. I think it was a pretty solid film. Got a bit wacky at the end when she just starts kung fu kicking dogs.
Is
And you're like,
Wesker
that's not very Resident Evil.
is Wesker not in the first film?
No, Wesker doesn't come in until number 4, I believe.
Okay.
No, number 3, but only that as a brief appearance around a table.
Oh yeah. You're right.
So I put Resident Evil as number 3, pretty solid. Works in terms of the video games as well, which I like.
And Mila Jovovich is hot.
Yeah, she's really good. She gets a lot of crap. I feel bad for her. At number 2, I've got the very newest Tomb Raider film, which is a reboot of the films and from the reboot of the games.
Mhm.
I know you two haven't seen it yet, but we'll get there.
But what I've played the reboot Tomb Raider game, and it's supposed to be based off of that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
So,
yeah.
new Lara, younger Lara.
Young Lara.
She wears trousers.
Pre-Tomb Raider Lara.
Yeah, she's just becoming a survivor. She's learning how to fight, that sort of thing. Thought the film portrayed that really well. It shows her fighting, shows her being a bit more emotional about things, rather than just a stone cold murderer and killer of extinct species. Sees a dinosaur, kills it.
I was going to
Standard.
say she does shoot a T-Rex to death.
Yeah, rather than documenting this discovery, she'd rather destroy it. I thought it was a pretty good film. It deviates from the games in a really unexpected way, which you'll get when you see it. I'm not going to say what happens because that'd be a spoiler, but there's a really big twist towards like the middle of the game where it's like, oh, that's brave, which they did pretty well. It's a bit sucky in some ways, but you know, you got to take risks. You can't, otherwise it'd be boring, right?
Yeah.
And at number 1, I got Silent Hill.
Okay.
I thought is probably the most faithful adaptation there is. That's not why it's number 1 for me though. I think the atmosphere was perfect. Like they couldn't have made a more perfect Silent Hill.
Yeah.
The fog effects, just the way it deteriorates into the dark world.
I mean,
the acting was great.
They added the siren in the movie.
Yeah, it was in the game, but it works differently in the
I was going to say it's different in the game.
Like in the film, the siren always happens when it's going all evil and spooky. There was a lot of unnecessary things that they changed, like they made the main character the mum instead of the dad for some reason. The film had this theme of mother as God in the eyes of a child, and it was really cheesy. I didn't like it very much, and the story changed quite dramatically. Like it was pretty faithful, but it was also dumbed down quite a bit, so that it suited a film's purpose more, I suppose.
The game is very psychological. I mean, all
great
three
game.
of them.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to adapt some of the fucked up shit that's in that game to a cinema film.
I'm surprised that they still haven't made Silent Hill 2 into a film yet. Like they've done Silent Hill 1 and 3 because they follow on together. But then again, Silent Hill 2 would be
Silent Hill 2
very
is
devastating
the
watch.
worst one. If we're being honest, nobody wants to see Pyramid Head fuck a leg monster, rape a leg monster on screen.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 as a film would be really difficult to watch.
Yeah.
And there's just way too much hype around it. Like no one's going to be happy with it anyway.
Oh,
it's not even worth trying.
No, I completely agree. Nobody would be happy with an adaptation of that game. HD reboot, people would love.
They already did that.
They did, but it played like fucking arse.
Really bad. It was so bad. So that's my top 5, which is quite different from yours, Ellie.
I'm jovial and youthful. You're all about the dark and the undesirable. And
I've played a lot of Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and
you have a black soul.
I do.
You just have a dark, nasty soul.
In terms of adapting games to films, your ones are probably a lot more faithful and better in that way.
Super Mario Bros. Is not a faithful adaptation.
No, it was awful. It was so bad.
But it was
funny.
Your top 2 choices made sense, though, I think.
Except the second one wasn't based on video games. It was based on bloody Lego.
Yeah, but the Lego movie is sick.
It is, but it's
case closed.
Lego Batman is fantastic. Lego Batman is one of DC's best films, which is really embarrassing for them. Like, of the past 10 years.
I remember watching it with Tom and turning to him and be like, this is the best film I've ever seen!
Yeah, I think the best release beforehand was the last Batman trilogy?
Yeah.
The Dark Knight trilogy was the last good DC releases before Lego Batman.
Before the new stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
That's accurate. But you can't fault the Dark Knight series, except the last one.
You know what? It's my favourite one, but
really?
That's another conversation.
Fair enough, yeah. I'm interested to hear your top 5, Tom.
Okay, well, let's start with number 5 then, shall we? So number 5, not because it's a particularly good film, but because I fucking loved it, and
Always
it has
a good way to start a defence.
Yeah, and it has The Rock in it.
Angry Birds.
Oh, it's Doom.
It's Doom. It is Doom.
Okay.
Like the beginning of the film, really slow, like not amazing, but The Rock is really cool. And
God, I haven't seen Doom in ages.
There's a really awesome first-person sequence in that film, which just looks like he's in a video game, fucking shit up, and you just see like the gun in front of the camera as if you were playing like Call of Duty or something. So it was, for the time, what was it when it came out? Fucking 2000 and...
I am literally looking at it now.
October
it was 2005.
21st. Yeah, 2005.
That sequence gets a lot of shit in reviews, but I thought it was pretty cool, to be honest.
It
I
does.
have to admit.
It gets a lot of shit, but I enjoyed it.
I've never seen it. I'd like to.
You've never seen Doom, yeah.
No.
The first person sequence is pretty cool. I don't care what people say.
Agreed. So number 4 for me. Oh, this is close. We're going to only one film. I'm gonna stick with your
sorry,
rule.
I've messed up your list.
No. It's fine. I had 2 Resident Evil films, so I just have to cut one.
Oh, okay.
But it's fine. It is actually fine.
Which Okay.
So number 4 for me is Silent Hill.
Nice.
I really like that film. I don't think I need to talk about it because we just spoke about it. But yeah, very good film.
What do you think? Because of the same reasons that I thought, or do you have other
Very
views on it
foggy.
as well?
Good fog use.
I remember watching it when I was younger. I think I actually watched it before I played the fucking game, and it terrified me. Like, just the atmosphere of the film absolutely terrified me.
It legit scared me as a child as well. I saw it when I was a child. I saw a lot of horror films as a child. It shaped me as a person.
Funny story. I went when Blockbusters was still open. Yes, this is how long ago this was. Me and my dad went to go. Well, we went there to pick out films and stuff. And I picked up Silent Hill, but I was young, so my dad was like, "Well, you're not watching that." And he looked at it and he went, "What do you want to know? Sean Bean's in it. He's going to die. The end."
It's the one thing where he doesn't die.
He doesn't die in it. I didn't want to ruin it.
Is he the bad
for
guy
him.
then?
No, he's the good guy.
Oh my god, it's his one film where he doesn't die, or is he the bad guy?
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, Silent Hill was a pretty solid film. So.
Silent Hill, very enjoyable.
Number 3.
Number 3, again, very hard. There's a lot of things that are quite tight at the top of my list. I think my number 3 is going to have to be the first Hitman film.
I forgot about Hitman! Oh my god, I love Hitman! Such a good film, amazing gameplay. I can't believe I fucking forgot about it. I love Hitman! I didn't even realise it was a video game until I watched the film, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And my friend was like, oh, it's a video game, and I was like, sick, let's play it.
I have seen Hitman once when I was little. I didn't like it very much. I might like it more as an adult. I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, see, for me, I think it might be more of a, nostalgia. Played a lot of Hitman as a child, but the whole, Agent 47, they could do anything with Agent 47, and I really like the newer Hitman films, but I think I have to go for this one for the original, or the first one, for nostalgia's sake. But I really enjoy the Hitman films, and there's a lot they can do with that character.
Is there more than one Hitman film?
Yeah, I think there was... 3. Let me double check. The one I'm talking about came out in like 2007. Yeah, 2007.
I'm not entirely familiar with Hitman, but I'm aware that he's Agent 47.
Yeah.
So with the films, I'm supposing you could probably have all different agents in each film. It could be all new stories and stuff. Do they all look the same? Are they clones or something? Or are they just different agents?
I believe No, they're not. I don't think they're clones. Man, it's been so long since I played a Hitman game. Don't think they're clones. They're like a group of... They take like a group of young boys and they give them barcode tattoos on the back of their necks, shave their hair off, and
sick.
train them to be assassins and
I see.
fuck people's shit up.
That's dark.
It is the whole premise is pretty dark where Hitman comes from.
We bring Resident Evil up one time and it's all clones with me. So
yeah, I mean, common trope in video games.
Clones, yeah.
Clones, yeah. So my number 2 is sort of a film that neither of you have mentioned. It's Warcraft.
Haven't seen it.
I've not seen Warcraft.
Haven't played it either. It's not my jam. I'm not a big fantasy guy. Also, I have a very addictive personality with games, and I feel like if I start an RPG, I'm going to get so invested, because I started playing The Sims in my first year of uni, and I nearly didn't submit an essay, and then I stopped.
Yeah,
it's like The Sims, I'm done.
I understand that. Warcraft is one of those things where I'm pretty sure they actually have rehabilitation centres for it. It's super, super addictive. It's very difficult to pull yourself out of when you're in there. You've no idea how much time you lose. It's worse than The Sims. So
I can imagine.
Just don't play it. If The Sims is crack, WoW is heroin.
What can you tell us about the film?
So essentially the film, I think it's based before the first Warcraft game. It's around how the orcs in the world, in the Warcraft universe, actually got to where they are, because the orcs are actually aliens. They're from a different planet in the Warcraft world.
Okay.
You didn't know that, did you?
No,
They're from a different planet.
I don't know a lot about Warcraft.
Like one of their warlocks creates a portal to another planet and sends them over there, and then they start warring with the humans, and that's sort of the overall premise of this film. It's like the tribal orc warlords going to war with the heroic humans,
Is this also like the main story of the game, or is it a side story or something, or is it?
I mean,
its own story?
it's like it's the precursor to the first game. So
okay.
for the first game, I believe it's just men and orcs fighting each other, and then they start adding more and more races into the games. So this just sort of focuses around like the humans and the orcs. So there's a lot of like wizards and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of characters in the film that are young in the film, but are like aged characters in the game and in like World of Warcraft as well.
Nice.
So they do hold true, and they play very well to the way the characters are actually written in the game as well. And the animation for the orcs is actually really good looking.
It's
Solid.
a nice addition to the gameplay, actually.
That's
which
actually
is very
that's
rare.
a good thing to do with a film franchise. Set it before the game. Like you don't always
to
have to
explain things.
Yeah, you don't always have to completely base it on a certain game, but doing it
Yeah.
beforehand, you can explore more story. That's cool.
I think the big thing about it is it's a video game that was made with the developers as well. So where most video games, the developers will sell the right to make a movie on the game to a production company, Blizzard actually worked with the production company to make the movie.
Well, that's good. So you know their hearts are in the right place with it, with the project.
And if you've ever seen a Blizzard cinematic, it's breathtaking. Like, that company knows what they're doing.
Why do you think that film didn't do so well then? Was it commercially or reviews wise? I don't remember.
I think it was a financial bomb, I believe. I don't think it did well financially.
Yeah, I believe it didn't do very well financially, which really surprised me because I thought that film had so much hype around it when it was being announced. Like as soon as I heard there was a World of Warcraft film coming out, I was like, that's going to be mega popular. That's going to make like mega bucks.
Yeah, I think they lost like between 15 to 40 million, I think,
Surprising.
on that film, which is very surprising. It grossed like 430 million, which is not enough, I guess. They spent a lot of money on it.
It might have been jumping to CGI when doing the whole CGI thing when they maybe just given it a couple more years. It would have been a bit more affordable. I don't know. I'm not a big movie moogle, am I?
If you didn't know that, if you didn't know about Warcraft, you would have no idea this film was coming out. Like, I had heard that the film was being made and then forgotten about the film and didn't realise it was out until I saw it on Netflix.
Okay.
So, like,
It's your fault.
I can see where the problem lies. They didn't really.
We didn't push it to the mainstream enough.
We probably did not get it in the cinema in this country.
Probably wasn't enough marketing surrounding it then. Yeah. Not enough.
They probably expected that the fan base of Warcraft would be enough.
No, they'll sit at home and stream it from somewhere pirated.
Yeah, they'll just steal it. So
I was gonna say these are video game nerds. You need to aim it at like.
They're not going to leave their
you need
basement.
To aim it at the fantasy film watchers. You need to aim at the Game of Thrones watchers.
Yeah.
That-
Before anybody has a go at me being like, oh, you're having a go at these nerdy people sitting in their basement. I would be one of those people if it were not for you two forcing me to come outside.
anyway, my number one, because we just went on like a 10-minute tangent. My number one will probably be of great surprise.
Probably be.
Angry Birds.
Will probably be of great surprise. My number one is Resident Evil Afterlife.
Okay.
The 3D one.
Pure disapproval
Yeah,
there.
see, the story of that film, absolute pap.
It's a really enjoyable film.
But I fucking love this. All of the slow motion fights, all the crazy stuff. Particularly the bit I think it's in the shower
With Claire.
Yeah, and the guy like throws the axe and she like slides underneath it and then shoots it with the shotgun that's full of coins and oh man, there's so many awesome scenes in that film. I believe it's also the one where she lands the plane on the roof of the prison. I think it's that one as well. I'll have to double check
Yes,
this.
it is. It is that one.
Because
Yeah.
what's his name is like locked up in the prison.
Chris.
Name. Chris. Yeah.
Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna downplay that. It's good.
It's a badass
Solid
film.
action. Not gonna lie.
Terrible story, but
Yeah, the
like
story's nothing.
I don't expect good stories from video game movies.
No,
I expect.
I think after the second Resident Evil film, the story wasn't really important.
they're all about action, right?
Yeah, it was clearly just fun action and watching Millie Jovovich in slow motion, just shooting everything.
Yeah, being badass as fuck. Right.
Not gonna lie, when I saw the trailer for that film and the guy with the massive axe was in it from Resident Evil 5, I was pretty psyched. I wanted to see that really
That's
bad.
the guy from the first mission, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a crazy fun fight.
It is a fun fight.
Although when you first play it, it's a little bit intense.
You don't realise you just have to run away from him.
Yeah, you have to, and then you can go back once you've unlocked the infinite rocket launcher and give it a go. And then it's okay.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
We probably lost a lot of respect from people from having Resident Evil in our list.
I mean, if you look at the list of films we're working with here, right?
Yeah.
If we're being particularly honest, they aren't great films.
No, I don't think we had a great variety of actually good films. I'd argue that even my top 3 have quite a few problems. Like, Silent Hill has a lot of problems, and it's still my number 1. Like, Silent Hill pissed off a lot of fans.
Yeah, it really did.
But if you really want to be pissed off, see the sequel, Revelations, because that is a huge pile of shit.
I can't believe you didn't say Tekken.
Tekken's a film?
There is a Tekken film. Yes, it came out in 2010.
See, there's lots of things that we didn't even know were films.
It's just, I think with films, I try and avoid the fighting game films, except Mortal Kombat, which I really liked.
What the hell can they do with Tekken? You finished Tekken 7 in 7 minutes. Literally.
Well, I mean, like, you realise that I finished the arcade mode. It's not very long, but Tekken has this big overarching story.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
like
okay, my
Mortal
bad.
Kombat,
Oh, and there was
like-
me thinking you were amazing. You've just made yourself look like shit.
Fighting games.
I mean, I haven't
have to
made
have-
myself look like shit. Everyone could beat Tekken that fast.
Fighting games normally have really big, convoluted stories because there's so many characters.
And the stories don't ever get mentioned in the games. Like,
They do now. Like,
I remember back in day, to learn the story of Tekken, you had to read the instruction manual.
yeah, those were the days. With the very first Mortal Kombat game, you had to beat the game as one of the characters, and then you get like 3 pages of writing, and that was the story. And somehow they made that into a film.
Yeah.
Amazing. Are there
Yeah.
any other films that actually I have a few films worth mentioning that didn't quite make the top 5? I've got some that I thought aren't actually bad films. Well, actually, I've got a list of ones that are good that didn't make the top 5, and it just says Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
The first one, the Angelina Jolie one.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid, fun action film.
It's a fun film.
I think it's fun, it's good, and I loved it as a child because I really liked Tomb Raider a lot. And then in bad, I've got Tomb Raider Cradle of Life, which I also enjoy, but it's not very good. But then again, I've also got Resident Evil 2 to 6, and I really like Resident Evil 2 to 5. There's so many bad films.
If we were allowed more than one film per franchise, the first Resident Evil film would have been on my list at number 4, probably.
It's a good film. It's creepy.
Yeah, it is very creepy. It's very atmospheric. So, but really, there's no amazing standout like.
House of the Dead was alright.
House of the Dead was okay. Yeah.
The thing with
scary film.
The thing with video game movies is that whenever they get announced that they're in pre-production, people are normally like, "No, don't do it. You're gonna ruin it." And then a trailer will come out, and people will be like, really hyped, like, "This could be the one that breaks the curse of video game films." And then they watch the film and they're like, "Eh."
I think there's one franchise that could be turned into an awesome set of films.
What?
Gears of War.
That could work.
I think they could turn that into a really awesome set of films. You know, it's just alien fighting films, right? Simple. There's not really a lot you can fuck up there.
Oh, they'll do it.
They will probably fuck it up. They'll probably fuck up the chainsaw machine guns, which is
the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, the Lancer gun.
Yeah.
And if you fuck that up, what's the point of making the movie?
In a podcast I was listening to, so just to bring it on to upcoming video game films,
Yes,
or ones
other
that are-
podcasts other than us.
I heard that a Metal Gear Solid film is in pre-production at the moment.
Cool.
Apparently
Okay.
Someone has written a script and called it the wackiest, most Kojima type film ever, and which is annoying because Metal Gear is one of my favourite games, and I'm not too sure if I want it to be a film or not because it's so meta as a game.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it's so cinematic that it would make an amazing 10-hour film. But those aren't a thing. No one can enjoy that.
I mean, if we're being honest, the fucking opening hour of Phantom Pain is excruciating enough for me to not want there to be a more
It's
Metal
a
Gear
literal
film.
pain.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of Phantom Pain's opening. That was a very long hour.
Do you know what? the amount of time Tom was playing it and I was watching it, obviously because we borrowed your copy, and I was just watching him going, where the fuck are you meant to go? Who the fuck is this? Oh, look at the fuck he's doing now. I wasn't threatened. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
This is a very standard Metal Gear Solid reaction.
Like, who's this guy? Why is he flying? And now everything's on fire. Fan-bloody-tastic.
Yep, that's pretty much Metal Gear in a nutshell.
Lie down, pretend you're dead.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I failed that one, didn't I?
You did, because you weren't
time.
dead enough.
Those are really...
Even though you weren't moving.
Like, in terms of video games, they're the most cinematic. That's the thing, video games can be really cinematic and it works. Like The Last of Us.
Mm.
Yeah.
The Last of Us and Metal Gear, probably some of the most cinematic video games ever. And
Yeah.
obviously video games are now leaning more towards being cinematic, but...
Horizon Zero Dawn.
But it's because you're more immersed. You're the one physically controlling what is happening to this person. When you're watching the film, you're just sitting back, so there's a barrier. So even if you do make it really cinematic, it still is lackluster.
So why do you guys think that video game films normally fall flat? Do you think it's because
they've
you're
already
not
got a
as
set
immersed?
story that the director has to go with. It's actually even harder than going from book to film. And people have played it, they've put their very, very personal emotions on the game. So then you've got the question of, right, okay, do I do what World of Warcraft did, which was put it on the before? Do I actually just play out the story in a film? Do I go with a secondary character? Like, where do I actually go with this? And I think it becomes very difficult to have creative freedom when the creative freedom has already been put in a very block set of, this is how the game went. Do you see what I mean? Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Yeah, it's hard to adapt things from one medium to another.
Yeah.
It's why people are always like, the book was better.
Well, of course the book was better because it's got so much more detail in it. The book's always going to be better. Name me one thing where the film was better.
Same with video games. You can play a video game for like 10 hours and the film's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a case of, like, you have two options really when you make the film, don't you? You either expand on the already present and rich universe in most cases,
Or you tell the story again.
or you tell the story again.
Yeah. And as you were saying about the hours and stuff, so I've maybe spent 100 hours on Horizon Zero Dawn quite easily. You can't now stick my experience into an hour and a half. 100 hours exploring this place. You can't put that, because I'll be like, well, what about this cave? What about this place? What about this merchant? He was really interesting.
So it's similar to adapting from a book. You're going to miss out quite a chunk of it to get the general story.
Yeah.
Which but the little details really make up a story.
I mean, there's if we're saying games that I think could easily be adapted to film, I think you could easily adapt Hellblade into a film.
I don't.
I think you could very easily adapt Hellblade into a film. I think, though, it would be a film that you would have to watch with headphones on to get a really immersive experience into what the film would be like, because it's a game where I feel like you need to wear headphones to really be immersed in it.
The voices really fuck me up. I find it really difficult.
Yeah, it's very disorientating. But I think they could turn something like that into a good film, because the game isn't about the action. The game is about
the experience.
The game is about her progressing through quote-unquote hell, you know?
Which at this point I don't even know if it's just a murky bog that we're just walking around in fucking circles, or if I'm actually going to hell. I've got no idea what's bloody going on, and I love it. Sorry, small plug there for Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. It's absolutely amazing. I haven't finished it yet, but please go and buy it.
It's alright. What other games do we think could actually make good video game films? And preferably not ruin... I don't think The Last of Us would be an amazing video game film, to be honest. It's already cinematic enough.
Yeah.
It works as it is.
Maybe Left 4 Dead,
Yeah.
because that's a game that has no story, really.
Yeah, maybe some of the really basic video games could be good films, because there's not much to them. Like, already.
Sorry, I just thought of Mr. Bum.
Mr. Bomberman. Mr. Bomberman is what she said.
Bomberman as
Sorry,
a film.
I was thinking of Mr. Pac-Man and
Mr.
Bomberman.
Mr. Pac-Man?
No, because it's Mr. Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man,
No,
isn't it?
it's
It's just
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. Oh, fuck. So I was thinking of... There you go. Pac-Man. Imagine Pac-Man as a film.
That could be an interesting animated film, in all fairness. Although I wouldn't want to see Pac-Man with a body. I think it would freak me out.
Have you not played Pac-Man World?
Is Crash Bandicoot a film? That would be a very funny kids film, Crash Bandicoot.
It could be a funny kids film.
Or
but
Rash Bandicoot, as I like to call him.
There's yeah, I guess you could do that. You could do a Crash film. I'm not sure how successful it would be, if I'm being honest.
Like I said, it would aimed at children.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wouldn't...
They could definitely do some very funny Crash Bandicoot shorts.
Yeah.
They made a Sonic the Hedgehog animated TV show which wasn't that good.
Crap.
Is that the one where they're like they have guitars and stuff?
I don't really remember it that well. I just remember thinking it wasn't very good, even as a kid.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Bad. It was really, really bad.
Do you reckon video games might actually be better off adapted to TV shows? Because we were saying that obviously where you're only condensing it into like an hour and a half to 2 hours, you're losing a lot of the finer details. Whereas Netflix and things are picking up on things and making these web shows, you know, like the Marvel things like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and there's a lot more intricate detail in character building and stuff like that. Maybe that would work better as a video game adaptation.
I think you're always going to have problems when you have a video game that you adapt into any other form of watching media, because the whole point of a video game is you're interacting with it. As soon as you're watching something, you're taking a step back, and it's even different for when you watch people nowadays who play the video game. You're still immersed in it because somebody is still controlling it. So you're still actually actively playing. Whereas if you're sitting back and watching, there's this kind of, as I said before, there's a distance. So I think you are just going to lose a little bit of something along the way because the video game its purpose is to be played.
Yeah.
While I agree
Okay.
with what you're saying, I think, you know, if HBO picked up, I don't know, any video game, wouldn't be interesting. Couldn't make a good thing out of League of Legends. If they picked up like
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, if HBO picked up Horizon Zero Dawn and, you know, made a 12-part series on it, you know, 12 one-hour episodes, they could probably string together a really, really good show, because there's enough there to work with as source material. You know, they don't even need to use like the original character. They could do a series on Rust, for example.
Okay, so then you're saying it could be done, but they'd have to bring the big guns in.
Yeah, it would definitely need to be done by a Netflix or a HBO, somebody that, you know, is committed to building a universe, a world, as opposed to somebody that just wants to bang out a TV show and have a bunch of action scenes.
Yeah, I like a bit of world building over a bit of money grabbing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem with a lot of video game films, is that the most recent one I've seen is the new Tomb Raider, and like with that, there's a lot of things which they take from the game, like at the start when Lara falls onto the spike thing which goes through her belly and she has to pull it out, and it's all very cool watching these things which are taken from the game, and then you watch it and you're like, that was in the game.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all that it's designed to do when you watch it, which is a bit of a problem, because then that itself is distracting from the fact that you're watching this film.
You're suddenly not immersed in it anymore in the way of watching a film. You remember playing the game, and you're pulled out of the reality that you were placed into.
You start looking for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And like, as soon as she picks up the 2 guns, and you're like, because she has 2 guns in the game, I get it.
Oh, I get it now.
Right?
She doesn't rock the dual-wield pistol in that game, does she?
Nah, not till right at the end.
Yeah.
Same with the film as well. Right at the end, she has 2 guns.
Another reason why they can't really do Horizon Zero Dawn, just to say, because obviously this is a very weak argument. You know how many outfits they have? I will get spitting mad if they do not wear the particular one that I like to wear.
Well, I mean, like, if they did it, like, I imagine if they were going to do a Horizon Zero Dawn thing, they probably wouldn't do it on Aloy, because Aloy has a set story that's already present, and that's what the game is. They would do it on someone like Frost.
They do it on Frost, or they do it on the past.
Yeah, on the past, how the virus
actually be a really
broke
good
out.
I think in general that is how you can make a good film from a video game, and it actually be a good film, is if it's not a direct faithful a direct faithful adaptation, so you're not just copying the story or something like that, but you're taking it in the universe,
and
but
changing a bit of it and making it bigger.
Give us something we haven't seen but we know something about,
with characters we're familiar with.
Build on something that we don't know about, that we only know a little bit about. Just take that and build on it, like what the first Resident Evil did.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best, probably, in terms of actual world building and story. I think it might be the best video game film. Though I, just love Resident Evil, so might be a bit biased.
Video game films are always going to get pandered, even if they are, no matter how good they are anyway. I actually saw quite a funny article online, which I didn't read, but the title was, is Lara's outfit too similar to the game?
Oh, goodness
and I was
sake.
like, it's a complete faithful adaptation of the game. It's
Of
set
course,
on
it's
the
supposed to
island.
look like the game. I'd just be lucky that her boobs aren't triangular, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
What, she had some pointy nips.
So insane. I was just like, what even is this article? It's about a person who is on an island for the entirety of the game who has one outfit.
You'd think it would be like, do you think her outfit is impractical? Why, yes, her outfit is incredibly impractical for what she's doing. Not, is it too similar to the game? Well, of course it is. That's where she fucking derives from.
It's based on the fucking game.
Duh.
Entirely.
Fucking...
But, you know, like, just be happy she's wearing trousers.
Well.
I do like the old one, though. It's very 90s.
It's very 90s.
It's just something about Angelina Jolie. She looks mean. She just looks really mean.
Lara was really mean.
No, but I mean, as in, she just looks like a really malicious person.
Alright.
That's why she plays such good evil characters.
And that's
as well,
why
I
she
guess.
steals other people's husbands.
She was great as Maleficent when Maleficent was
Jesus
evil.
Christ.
Whoa. I just
Wow.
picked up on what you just said.
Throwback. That's like...
I would never forgive you!
That's like, we're talking Mr. and Mrs. Smith level of...
Yeah, we're talking 2009.
shit. That is digging up old wounds, mate. Even Jennifer Aniston's over that.
Miss Croft, I think you're trying to cheat me out of my little ray of sunshine.
Why would I try and cheat you out of anything now? I need you to get the piece so I can steal it from you later.
Julius, make a mental note. Kill Miss Croft if she attempts any such thing.
Thank you so much for watching. We will be back next week as normal. If you want to message us, you can email us at whatsonpodcast@outlook.com, or you can tweet us at whatson_podcast.
I'm going to ask the question again. I think I asked it a few episodes ago.
Oh,
Has
what?
anyone actually sent any messages yet?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. We're still very new.
We aren't very good.
In all fairness,
Speak for yourself.
in all fairness, like, we've never had like a fan base to fall on. So,
I am my own fan base. I'm all the fans I need.
love it. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week. Well, goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.